We're joined by our good buddy Anthony Stalter from ESPN Radio 101.1, host of The Turn, heard weekdays 1 to 3 o'clock. And Anthony, thoughts about last night?
Well, you know, the Cardinals got shut out, and that was a tough. It's a tough one. I think they'll be fine.
Silly.
Yeah, to stupid Miami too. Can you believe it?
No.
The Stanley Cup is coming to St. Louis. It's actually in St. Louis. It's in St. Louis now as we speak.
It's unbelievable. And you touched it.
Yeah, we found out at the top of the show that Moon did touch the cup when it was here a couple Mondays ago.
I wasn't the
Anthony warned him not to.
Who knew there was no jinx?
There was no jinx. I knew there was no jinx.
Apparently not.
I knew there was no jinx. The keeper of the cup said, it's a player thing. I didn't want to take the heat from the peoples.
I don't blame you. You don't know if there's a jinx or not, but apparently there's not.
There's
and
not.
Moon, I apologize.
Did you apologize to
Get
Randy
outta here.
Carricker, too?
I'm going to do a whole segment on it today on 101.
Apologies all around.
Yeah.
Entertainers.
Given the
It's fun.
opportunity, even knowing the results, I still wouldn't have touched it.
I wouldn't either.
Really?
It's too big of a risk.
Still wouldn't have touched it.
Really?
Wait,
Why?
a risk on the jinx?
Yeah.
level?
I told you my
You're
reasoning.
crazy, dude.
What's your reasoning?
I work for the team.
So?
I'm not. I don't even want to be a second of any doubt in people's minds that that could have been because Patrico touched the cup.
Unless you dress for a game or are an alternate, doesn't matter. Does not matter.
In your eyes.
No, and the guy who travels with the Stanley Cup said that.
Oh, okay, so in your eyes and in his eyes.
The keeper of the cup.
Yeah, we live in a pretty cool world.
The cup talks through this guy. It's
true.
And he said it.
He's a conduit
but I mean,
for
just
the
because
cup.
I don't want to do it doesn't mean
He's a
that's
cup
wrong.
conduit.
You know, people live in a great world if the thing that they get the most angry about is somebody that they don't know touching a trophy that they're not fighting for.
Doesn't matter. It's St. Louis's now.
Yeah, that's right.
Damn right. Yeah, buddy.
The numbers are in from last night as far as the ratings go in St. Louis. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Anthony. In St. Louis, a 41.8 rating. That means 41.8% of the TVs in St. Louis were tuned into last night's game.
My buddy yesterday
Wow.
goes, "You think it'll be 40?" I go, "Damn near close." Well, it's over.
Who got better ratings? The Blues Game 7 last night or the Rams-Patriots game
Ooh,
for the Super Bowl?
in '99.
No, in this one.
Oh, this last one.
This last one.
I'm gonna say
Blues.
I'm gonna say Blues.
I'll say Blues
I'll
too.
say Blues, too.
The Blues did. That's right.
All right.
That's why you even bring it up, Rizz. What are you doing?
41.8% of the TVs tuned into the Blues game last night. And what a game it was. I'm going to play some highlights, if you would. In fact, let's let our buddy Chris Kerber take us through the goals from last night.
Bouwmeester, slap shot, he scores! Jay Bouwmeester with the puck deflected in front. Pietrangelo, he scores! Alex Pietrangelo! Here's Tarasenko centering to Shin. He scores! Jordan Bennington has been absolutely spectacular.
He's right. He was spectacular. Spectacular. Were you a little
Absolutely.
disappointed that they got one in on him last night?
I was. I wanted the shutout so bad. And people were talking on Twitter saying 4-0 would be perfect because in 2004, the Red Sox swept the Cardinals 4-0. So a little bit of sweet justice there. So they got one.
You're trying to get the numerology thing going on. I
Little
mean, the
bit.
game was in hand already, so it really
was.
didn't mean anything.
So the game was already in hand, so why did they pull the goalie and do that? Just to be dicks and score a goal so he couldn't have a shutout or what?
No,
No,
I think
just-
stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
You got to do that.
Dude, there was a few. I think it was Scott was talking about this. There was a few people in my neighborhood that was shooting fireworks off with about a minute and a half to go, and I just kept thinking, "What are you doing? Don't do it! Don't do it!"
How many goals did the Sharks get on Vegas?
It was
Five.
Five goals. In how long?
Less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay, so anything could happen.
Tonight's best game. He centers, they shoot, they score! Zach Sanford! They did it! It's over! The game is over! The series is over! The wait is over! And the St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup champions for the first time in franchise history!
That's right.
In 1952, a Chicago Blackhawk by the name of Bill Monsinko scored 3 times in 21 seconds.
Mad Bill, they called him.
Yep.
Wild Bill. Did a movie on him.
Holy cow.
Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill was the movie.
3 goals in 21 seconds. So, yeah, you pull the goalie.
Raise your things.
Did the right guy deserve the and get the Conn Smythe last night?
I mean, with O'Reilly, with the amount of points that he has, they showed the graphic on the NBC broadcast last night, and then Fox Sports Midwest, where he was in Blues history, Blues playoff history. So it's hard to argue, but with what Jordan Binnington did in Game 5 of this series, and then last night, I would have given him every award. Just lavish him in awards. Make up awards. And
did you notice the cameras were on Binnington as they were wheeling out the Conn Smythe?
Yeah, because he was doing his hat, right? Yeah.
And we're just about to announce it.
Yeah.
They had the cameras trained on Binnington.
We kind of had this argument what was it, last week when you were filling in for Rizz?
Yeah, I said who gets it, Schwartz or Binnington? And Ryan O'Reilly, at the time, wasn't even really brought up.
Well, he finished with a 6-game point streak in the finals, and now he has the most points in a postseason in franchise history.
And he is one of the only players from Game 1 that was sensational this year.
Yes.
And as we know, the first half of the season didn't really go too well.
He's the third player and the first in 53 years to score a team's opening goal in 4 straight Stanley Cup final games.
Look, as much as I would say, hey, I would have given it to Binnington, for somebody to suffer that much in Buffalo, all those years with the Sabres, to come in and have that contribution, that production all season long. Not all playoffs, not all Stanley Cup, all season. Great. I've got no issue with Ryan O'Reilly.
We talked to our buddy Chris Kerber, who I don't know if you heard him on the program earlier, but he said if Ryan O'Reilly doesn't have the season that he had the first half, we are even further.
He's absolutely right.
Further behind, and the comeback would have been absolutely ridiculous to think of.
That guy was the glue the entire year for the Blues. He was sensational.
We were talking about a couple key dates. And how the Blues went from last place to Stanley Cup champions. And July 1st is when Ryan O'Reilly was traded from Buffalo to the Blues. Do you remember for who?
That was for that was for a first rounder.
A 2019 first rounder.
One of the young kids.
Do you remember?
Alliterative name.
Yep.
Thompson.
Tage Thompson. Who else? There were 2 other players. Ryan O'Reilly for Tage Thompson, a first-round pick in 2019,
yes.
a second-round pick in 2021.
Saboka.
There you go. And who else? The guy's not even in hockey anymore.
Oh, wow.
Starts with a B.
Bobby Orr. That's right.
I don't think that's it.
The guy, he literally, in the middle of last year, he just walked away from hockey. He said, I don't want to play anymore. I'm out.
In the middle of this
year. This past year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Bozak wouldn't have the same number if he was still with the Blues.
Correct.
Who was it?
You're right, Patrick Berglund.
There we go. Patrick Berglund.
I can't believe that you whispered it
I
to
can't
Rizz.
believe you
Well, if
remember
you
that.
gave me a
Peanut butter.
second, yeah. How do I remember
That was
Saboka?
cool how
but
you were
not
acting like you
Patrick
didn't know.
Berglund?
That was cool.
This is a cooler name.
21.
How about this key date? Anthony Stalter from ESPN Radio, November 19th. What happened on that day?
They brought back no, that's November.
November 19th, 2018.
They fired Mike Yeo.
All right, after losing 2-0 at home to the Kings, which at the time the Kings were the only team worse than St. Louis. The Blues fired Mike Yeo and brought in Craig Berube,
who said, you know what? This is going to take some time, gentlemen. It's going to take some time. And he was right.
Yeah.
Took some time.
Several months.
And I think one of the real low points, besides them being in absolute last place on January 2nd, and I remember this game vividly, a low point, December 16th, the Blues got, wrecked by Calgary, 7-2, and the Enterprise Center fans booed the team off the ice.
Yep. Ain't booing now.
No.
Uh-huh.
Now they're saying Bruce.
Bruce.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I believe it was January 2nd when the Blues was the last date that the Blues had the worst record in hockey.
Ottawa's overtime loss to Vancouver granted the Senators a point that lifted them out of the NHL cellar, and the new tenants at the bottom of the league, the 15-18-4 St. Louis Blues, with 34 points.
Another date, February 24th, I think it was, is when Brett Hall started drinking.
Uh-huh.
I think.
Has anybody
written a buzz?
Shot, yeah.
Can we do like a find my
check?
phone for Brett?
Can somebody
Brett
ping
Hall?
Somebody tagged him.
Are you gonna
Somebody ping where he is.
Let's see. I think I can actually. Let's find my brewery. No, got it.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Hey, the brewery.
You
He
gonna ask him
actually
the
is a
question?
brewery now.
You gonna ask him the question that you asked Kerber?
It's Patrick Berglund. I answered.
You
that.
got it. Good job, man. Way to go.
Whether if there's one moment.
Oh, if there's one moment of the season, what's the turnaround?
Okay, besides Bortuzzo fighting Sanford, besides that moment,
See, I thought that was the moment. I thought that was the moment
that was
the
a
team
good
turned
one.
around.
I gotta say when Craig Berube took over, because when Binnington took over in net, yeah, obviously that stabilized the goalie position, but Berube had already been in place, and clearly the team needed a culture shock, and Berube, as it turns out, was the right guy for the right team at the right point. He comes in, he somehow galvanizes this team that had seemingly been fractured. He got everybody to kind of buy in, and then from that point forward, any decision that he made, at any point, if he needed to make a change, everybody, yep, we believe in this guy. So to me, it's when Berube was put in place. And Doug Armstrong, too, let's remember, and everybody agreed with this, Doug Armstrong was like, hey, we're going to scour the earth to find our next head coach.
They got him. He was right there. He was right there.
Well, who do you think they'll hire next?
He was right there the whole time.
By the way, Ryan O'Reilly, this entire Stanley Cup final, cracked rib.
Yeah, his dad didn't.
We were saying he was hurt.
Last
We were saying
round
he
or
was
early
hurt
in this
early in the playoffs.
Early in this one?
Because he was not himself. We said that.
It says here, Stanley Cup playoff MVP Ryan O'Reilly played through cracked ribs since the first round.
Oh,
Yeah.
but Chara, he's a
said that.
Superman because of a broken jaw, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We said that. We said that Ryan O'Reilly was not himself that first round.
I think you're right about Berube, though, because, and all credit to Binnington, but Binnington doesn't get his first start without Berube saying it.
So just so you know, January 7th, Berube sat Jake Allen.
There you go. Turning point.
January 7th, after starting Jake Allen in goal for 14 straight games, rested him in favor of Jordan Binnington.
And the other thing you guys mentioned last week when you were talking about Schwartz, I've been paying attention since you said that, and holy smokes, you were right. That dude is involved in everything. He may not have had the points, but dudes, wow. Like, it's a three-way split. If I had to give him MVP, it'd be O'Reilly, Binnington, Schwartz.
He's the best two-way player on the team, and he had not been playing well throughout the. I mean, nobody played well in the first half of the season, but even in the second half, people kept asking, when is Schwartz going to get going? When is Schwartz going to get going?
He got going when
he absolutely got going.
Wow, yeah. He busted ass on every play.
He was
always
incredible.
around.
Let's get to a couple emails. I know people sending emails over in regards to the Blues.
Yeah,
The Blues winning the Stanley Cup.
I'm sure we don't remember any of this, but there was a guy a handful of years ago that got a BLUES Stanley Cup 2015 tattoo.
Yeah.
Champion tattoo.
Love that guy.
I don't know if you guys heard about that or not. But
Show Stalter the
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, can you turn the 5 into a 9?
Of course you can.
We may or may not have paid for that for him.
I'll tell you what the play is. You make the 5 into an 8-9. So 2018-19 Stanley Cup.
So we had somebody get a Stanley Cup Champions 2015 trophy tattoo.
It's easy. You put a line from the 5 down to the curve,
change that to
and it
a
looks
9.
like a 9.
Easy.
Easy.
Yeah, good.
That's
Of all
an
the years
easy
to win,
fix.
of all the years to win, 2019. Thank God for that guy.
Yeah. Like if it was 2017, you are in some
done.
trouble.
That's a dope tattoo.
Or
too,
2020, you're screwed.
Yeah, now this just became a super cool tattoo.
man. Yeah, it's a badass tattoo.
Did
Good
you-
job, Big Dave.
Have you guys talked about, too, the guy that had the ticket in Vegas in December?
Yeah.
He bet the Blues at, like, whatever their odds were, 250 to 1.
Yeah, what'd he win?
I think it was
500 grand.
I think it was
400 grand.
It was 400 grand.
Yeah.
Never hedged.
Yeah,
He
somebody offered him 70 grand for the ticket.
Yes. At no point he say, all right, I'm gonna bet on the Bruins just a little bit to get my money back, whatever. He's like, nah, I'm good.
He never hedged his bet, and somebody offered him 70 grand for the ticket.
Unbelievable.
He didn't take it.
Wow.
Cash money, homie.
Talk about somebody sweating at puck drop. That guy. Good for him.
yeah, man.
One more, Jeff.
Somebody here wants to know if Tony Patrico is going to be getting himself a ring.
Do you get a ring?
I do not know.
Ooh.
I hope so.
Man,
but I
what
do
a-
not know.
What a great question.
I do not know.
As hype man, I mean,
again,
nobody did.
I do not
nobody
know.
did more hyping than this guy for the
You
team.
hyped.
I am not going to be upset, disappointed.
You hyped the hell out of the season.
Thank
In
you.
fact, I think the turning point was when you started playing something. I don't know. What did you start playing in January?
Yeah,
It was a good mix, is what it
Country
was.
Roads.
Was it the Ric Flair thing?
Country
or-
Roads.
I think in
No, that was
January
last
when you
season.
hit that EQ just a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, you turned up the bass.
Yeah.
Well done.
So I don't know.
The treble.
I hope so, but
Maybe, maybe to like secondary.
there's different tiers for sure,
Maybe they'll offer for you to buy one.
and I will
And of
take
course
all
you
my
should.
money.
Yeah.
Oh, all of it?
I don't know. Sure.
$2,000. They say this is a $2,000 ring.
That's an easy purchase for me. Yes.
Oh, look at money back.
Damn, gee whiz. Can I
hype
borrow
money.
some?
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy money as here.
Oh,
Wow,
that's what you said.
getting $2,000 is easy. I'm saying that's an easy decision. I make that purchase.
Wow.
Yes.
Things are going well.
Do you not?
I'd have to sell something first. Who wants a guitar?
No, you buy yourself a ring.
Yeah.
You
I
deserve
mean,
it.
if you want to look at it on the surface, like I'm in the media guide, so essentially, you would think that everybody that's in the media guide would get it, but
This is his pitch.
I'm not pitching anything. Like I said, I am happy to be a part of this team, and I'm happy to celebrate the win. And if I get a ring, that would be incredible, and I would probably cry. If I don't, I still got to experience an amazing season. I'm super happy about
I'd be
it.
so happy for you. And here's the real question. If you got a ring, paid for or not,
Yeah.
do you wear it?
Special occasions, yeah. Weddings,
CBC Hall of Fame.
CBC Hall of Fame meeting.
Wednesdays.
Yeah. I wear it on special occasions.
That would get you in the CBC Hall of Fame.
Maybe, probably not. Who knows?
Probably not.
Can I tell a real quick story about my wife's grandmother?
Yes,
Real
this is a
quick?
great story, by the way.
She's
We're
got
going
a
to take our
ring.
final break.
So she should. So she's 103 years old.
Wow.
Born and raised in St. Louis, diehard Blues fan. Anytime I see her, she's like, "Hey, did you see the Blues last night?" Right. So back in January, I get a text from my wife. Her grandmother had been, her health had been slowly going downhill. She'd been hospitalized, and my wife Kristen texts me and she says, "Hey, get to the hospital after your show. It looks like this is gonna be the day. The doctors are saying this is
Say
this
your
is
goodbyes."
it." So I drive down to the hospital, sit there with her, crying because somebody's cutting onions somewhere in the room. I think.
It was dusty.
Yep, it was
They were
very
doing some
dusty.
work.
I was holding her hand, going through the goodbyes, right? Last thing I said is, "Hey, I'm going to root for the Blues forever for you," right? She's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, so sweet." She rallies. She's back home in March, turns 103 in February, watches the Blues win the Stanley Cup final last night.
Oh, my God.
She saw it, 103.
Wow.
Doctors
That's
are
awesome.
saying this is it in January.
It's amazing.
I mean, she can't be the biggest fan. She's barely been a fan half of her life.
Right.
She's seen every season. Every season. So that's who I'm fired.
She's only been a fan barely half her
Wheezy.
life.
Yeah, but Anthony Stalter, we can't thank you enough for
Thanks, boys. Thank you for having me
Talking
in.
Blues,
It's been a
courtesy
lot
of
of
First
fun.
Community. Listen, Anthony, 101.1 ESPN Radio, our sister station right down the hall. Host of The Turn from 1 to 3 o'clock.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anthony Stalter, everybody.
Oh! You forgot one key date. May 18th,
Day after my birthday.
the day you got a dog. The Blues won the Stanley Cup because you got a dog.